MCP is just a way for, putting my workflow into like an AI applications in a very simple way. I think that's how I really wanted it to be initially, or that's how we wanted it to be. But it's just a way to give context to an application that uses an LLM. And that's just as simple as that. And it can be, tools. It can be just raw context, whatever you like it to be.
What makes MCP special here?
I think the question is, what do models interact with? And they don't interact directly with APIs. They interact with prompts and tools and whatever you're giving the model to ingest. And so MCP standardizes how you take that data from, whether it's an API or some internal data source or whatever it is, how you take that data and then actually give it to the model.
So this is a protocol then, so it's defining that sort of interaction pattern. What are the main aspects of this protocol that that it has to follow?
The main part is that it's a protocol between the AI application that uses an LLM, and it exposes basically three main things. It's tools, it's a thing called resources, which is just raw data that you could ingest into a RAG pipeline or whatever you wanted to do. And there's prompts, and that's the three main things that a server can expose for now, yeah.
What was it? Because I remember that too, when we were doing all these hackathon projects, and there was no mandate to force people to use MCP. This was just an entirely organic thing. Why did people gravitate towards MCP for all their projects?
I think it really was that standardization layer. It just made it so much easier to add context to the application because the moment that Claude is now integrated against MCP, that means as the server builder, you can build 1, 2, 10, 20, however many servers you want, and you know that it will automatically work with that application. And so I think that just gives you the ability to only think about one side and not have to think about the other side.
I think there's a bit of a magic moment when you teach Claude something new using an MCP server for the first time, and you see it takes action about something you care about. And I feel that's a little bit of moment of magic that I think MCP captures really well, which makes people so excited because within 5 minutes they have something going.
Right. Yeah, I've seen it myself, and even experienced it where it almost feels like you take Claude out of the box, so to speak. And all of a sudden, instead of just being this thing that is just right there outputting text, it's doing other things. It's calling other applications, fetching other data, or even operating a 3D printer, which is a really crazy thing. And that does feel really special. And I guess MCP allows that pretty seamlessly to some degree.
Yeah.
But I think going back to the launch, a key decision here was to actually make this open source. And that was pretty different in comparison to maybe previous efforts in this area that had been launched. Can you explain the reasoning behind that decision and why did we open source it?
Yeah. If you have a closed ecosystem for integrations and for context to be provided to AI applications, then it isn't clear to the server builders or the integration builders, is that AI application going to be around forever? Should they invest in that? Which ones should they invest in? And so by making it an open standard, you really kind of decrease the friction to even building those integrations. And we believe that the value of building an AI application is not necessarily which integrations you have access to, but the model's intelligence and the workflow that you build on top of the model. So we wanted to focus the industry on those two things and not necessarily on building integrations.